I, Chapter 5. The night where everything changed. The cloudy evening fell, and I arrived at our house right on time. I had no idea what she planned for me, and all I could think about was what I was going to say to her. Should I tell her how I felt? How do I tell her? But the scariest thought I had was, how was she going to react? Well, she doesn't like what she hears, doesn't want to see me anymore. She was the only real friend I had in this town. I couldn't bear to lose her. I took a deep breath and walked to the door. As I knocked on it, the door opened up. It was unlocked. Inside was dim, not like the last time I came to the house, but one thing was different. The light was coming from the kitchen. Derpy? I called to her. In here! I hear a voice coming from the kitchen. I walked inside to find her standing in the middle of the floor, smiling at me. I noticed her mane, normally unkempt, was now straight, shining, and very pretty. She was like an angel with a crooked eye, but I've known her for so long, I've never taken notice of that anymore. Her left wing is unfurled, covering my view of the kitchen table. Wow, I said, you look great. She chuckled in nervousness. Oh, it's nothing, just something I wanted to do. So, what's going on? She retracted her ring, revealing a blueberry muffin with a lit candle on it on the table. Surprise! She yelled. Happy birthday! My jaw dropped. I forgot my own birthday. It's my birthday? It's the 23rd, silly. Of course it's your birthday. I looked at the nearby calendar. She was right. I completely forgot, I told her, embarrassed. It's okay, I can sit down. She pushed me over to the table. Seeing her happy personality return made me feel warm inside. Make a wish, she tells me, motioning to the candle. I closed my eyes, thinking long and hard about my wish. Finally, I blew out the candle. She clapped her hose together with delight. Now take a bite. I removed the candle from the muffin. Derpy leaned forward towards me, waiting for my first bite. I couldn't help but recall the similarities from tonight and our first meeting. I took a bite of the muffin. As I chewed, there was something different. This was not a muffin from Shikuku Corner. It was better. I cannot describe what exactly made this muffin better, but believe me when I say it was nothing I've ever tasted in my life. This is amazing. What did you get? I ate it myself, she proudly exclaimed. Really? I was shocked. That was the reason I had to leave the hospital early. Well, I didn't see you for a week. I haven't made muffins in a while, and I wanted to be perfect. Is it alright? Derpy, it's magnificent. Derpy blushed, even redder than it was when I saw her blush at the hospital. She was close to me now. So close I could smell the lemon scent emanating from her mane. It was different than her normal scent. In fact, it wasn't normal much of a scent at all. I felt myself getting closer to her, prepared to kiss her, but then she backed away from me. I didn't know if she knew what I was going to do or not, but she backed herself to the doors behind her. She hung her head down, hiding her crimson red cheeks from my sight. Though she wasn't hiding her ass cheeks, if you know what I mean. So, what did you wish for? She asked me. I stood from my sitting position. Slowly walked over to her, meeting her close. It's now or never. She looked at me wide-eyed, yet curious what I was about to do next. Oh, this is going to get good. What is it? She said softly. I didn't know what to say to her. Now it's sounding like one of those silly romance novels I read. I decided to just show her. As I leaned forward, I could hear her heart racing. Truthfully, so was mine. I closed my eyes as my lips hovered over hers, until meeting them for a soft, gentle kiss. Oh, my love, I long for your touch. Hey, we are ready with our song quoted for the fic. Sorry. Seconds passed, and I parted from her. She stared at me, so still you could almost mistake her for a stone statue. As I leaned to kiss her again, she met me halfway. Our lips were locked for a few priceless moments I could have sworn lasted forever. But then I felt my cheeks getting wet with tears. Suddenly, Derpy forcibly pushed me away from her. I saw the tears roll down her face. She was crying, voice cracked with every word spoken. No, I said. Why me? I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Why not? No, I can't. I can't do this. What do you mean you can't?
I don't deserve you. You've been so nice to me. This has all been wonderful, but you deserve somebody better than me.
I tried to get close to her. I extended my hook to her shoulder, but she recoiled away from me, scared of my very soft touch. It's like that day all over again.
Nope, she said. Don't want your sympathy.
What are you talking about?
Don't. I know what the others have been saying about me. Oh, look at the clumsy derpy. And I wonder what she'll crash into next. It's all true. I am clumsy, and I do get hurt a lot. I'm not smart or talented or beautiful. And they find out that what will they think? What will they say?
I don't care what they think.
But I do.
Isn't what I think about you enough?
No. Yes. I don't know. I'm so confused.
An awkward pause falls across the room. I had to say something. Something that'll make her see how I feel about her. Derpy, I... The words almost got out of me before she interrupts me.
Just go. Please. Leave me alone,
she said. My heart felt like it was ripped from my body. It was a reaction I'm hoping she wouldn't have. It felt like I completely ruined not only a perfectly good birthday, but a wonderful relationship with this amazing mayor. I was ready to go back home, proceed to bang my worthless head against the wall for being so purposely stupid. Okay, I complied. I'll see you when I see you. My voice sounded almost dead. I wasn't myself anymore. I was heartbroken. I opened the door and it started to rain. It was going to be a long walk home. I wasn't looking forward to getting sick from the cold. Well, I wouldn't have given at that moment to be a unicorn with teleportation powers. Darn those Pegasi and their weather control! Hey, what can I say? We mess up. I walked out the door into the pouring rain. The storm seemed to get heavier with each step I took in the mud. I was drenched in water within seconds of being outside. Look, dude, I'm sorry, okay? Look. Rainbow Dash needed somebody else to fill in for weather patrol duty. I found out that somehow my name was on the draft list. They took me in. I suck at weather manipulation. I'm a bookstore owner. A part-time druid. A mage. An audio review. An audio reader. I don't do weather control. It's just like what I told Princess Sally back when I was setting up shop on Mobius. I'm not a warrior, I'm not a soldier, and I'm pretty positive that the only reason why I'm named Bookish is because of my personality quirk. I just run books. Then suddenly, amidst the booming thunder, I heard Derpy's voice call out to me.
Wait, she said, don't go.
I went back around to see her running towards me. Her beautiful straight mane was soaked, her hose covered in mud. And even so, I could see the tears were pouring out from her now, on the verge of a breakdown.
I'm sorry, she truthfully said. I don't want to lose you. You're the only friend I have.
That's not true, I replied. You have your sister.
I know, but...
She paused, struggling to get the words out of herself.
I don't love her like I love you.
I should hope not! That sinking feeling in my heart became a lump in my throat. My eyes widened. My mouth was agape. Did she say she loved me? Did I hear that correctly? You loved me? I asked, still in disbelief. I thought I was only hearing what I wanted to hear, even though I was completely, totally in love with her. To hear her say it first shook me to my very core. She slowly nodded her head, a small but noticeable smirk forming on her face. Then, why so hesitant? She paused for a couple more seconds before replying.
I'm afraid.
Afraid of what?
That I'll mess it up. That I'll say something or do something that'll make you not want me anymore. That you'll leave and...
I couldn't take any more. I wrapped my forelegs around her, holding her as tight as possibly could. She made no attempt to push me away. She put her forelegs around me, holding me just as tight. We were both massively drenched from all the rain, and I could feel cold coming on. But the feeling of her in my forelegs was indescribable. I would have traded this moment for anything in all of Equestria. Take her in the dirt! Take her in the dirt! I brushed her mane with my hoof as she looked into my eyes. Nothing you can do can make me leave you, I tell her. Only you can make this world seem bright. With as much love as I could bring my voice, without sounding completely mushy. I will never leave you, no matter what.
You promise?
Cross my heart, hope to fly. Suddenly she grabs hold of me, kisses me as hard as she could. We embrace each other as our kisses become more passionate. We stopped, breathing heavily as we look at one another. Our breathing began to calm. I held her close to me.
Nay! I say nay! Do not stop kissing right in front of the princess! You should continue! It's raining. We're probably gonna get sick,
she tells me. I know. I chuckled, but it was worth it.
Your house is pretty far. Do you want to stay with me tonight?
She asked. I thought you'd never ask, I quickly replied. We practically ran back into the house as quick as a lightning bolt. The ceiling was leaking in various areas, and we put pots and pans as we could. Unfortunately, we didn't dry ourselves beforehand, and the floor was wet from our soaked bodies. We got a pretty good laugh from the both of us. After getting a hot fire going, we placed towels everywhere we stood. We dried each other a towel over me, and vice versa. We never broke eye contact. Like the simple act of drying ourselves from the rain was somehow a sensual act. Once we were done, we dropped our now wet towels. We got close to one another. We proceeded to engage in a romantic embrace and slowly fell to the floor.
I don't want to disappoint you,
she said after a small series of kisses.
But do you mind if we keep it like this for tonight?
He ain't the one disappointed! It took a while to get what she was saying.
I don't think I'm ready for...
She didn't have to say another word. You could doubt me all I like, but I wasn't bothered by her wish in the slightest. She wasn't ready to take that step, and I respected her decision. Your heart on the other hand, is right now ranting at you. Don't worry, I said. We don't have to do anything you don't want to.
Thank you,
she said, holding me tight. I never slept in another pony's bed before, especially not in a bed belonging to one I had romantic feelings for. Being in Derpy's bed was a definite step up from that hospital bed I had the misfortune of sleeping in. Not only was it 100 times more comfortable, but the mare I loved was sleeping next to me. All through the night, Derpy rested her head on my chest, and her hose wrapped around me in a snug grip. Every time I moved, it would get tighter, refusing to let me go. I couldn't help but smile, even if the grip was a little too tight for my liking. I didn't mind. She was happy, and so was I. Derpy? I checked to see she was awake.
Mm-hmm.
She replied groggily. She was half asleep at that point. Can I ask you something?
What?
Why did you keep seeing me after we met? I know you said you felt bad, but it was almost every day. Not that I minded, but I shut my mouth before I went into an unnecessary monologue and waited for a response. Silence. It felt like went on for so long, I figured she went back to sleep. Desi replied,
You seem lonely.
She had no idea how right she was. For the most of my life, I was very alone. I didn't have many friends, and my family was never there for me when I would need them most. Derpy, the pony that every pony thought was a silly klutz, saw right through me the moment we laid eyes on each other. A tear ran down my cheek as I kissed the top of her head. Not anymore, I said. Not anymore. The morning came. Turn out that light! Pow! And the clouds dissipated. The storm that had plagued the night passed. I awoke to find myself in the same position I was when I slept. On my back, Derpy still gently grabbing my body. I caressed her face, waking her up. She slowly opened her eyes and looked at me, smiling.
Good morning,
she said to me.
Did you sleep okay?
I slept just fine, I replied. Yourself? She yawned, but her smile never left.
Very well, thank you.
She rested her head on my chest, like she did before. How about I make some breakfast? I asked her. She loosened her grip of me, resting her on my chest.
Are you sure? I don't have much.
I'll manage. Looking through her kitchen, I found everything I needed to make a good breakfast. There were eggs, flour, various fruits, and my birthday muffin, which hadn't been touched since the single bite I took of it last night. It luckily survived the storm. Interestingly enough, the kitchen was one of the few places that didn't have leakage in the ceiling. Not much, she said. What I saw was a feast. What amounted to mere minutes, I made a plate of scrambled eggs, cut up some strawberries, and split my muffin in two, with the bit inside given to myself, of course. Derpy walked to the kitchen as I sat at the table, wrapped in a blanket, avoiding any water-filled spots on the way in. Her eyes widened at the food I prepared.
Wow.
She gasped.
Did you make all this?
I may not be a 5-star chef, but I can make a mean scrambled egg breakfast. She giggled that wonderful giggle and sat down. As we ate, I made occasional glances at her taking a bite of eggs. She reveled in every bite, glad. At first, I thought she was being nice, but then I saw her looking at my egg plate, with that familiar look of somebody wanting more. I gladly gave her what was left. The fruit and muffin half more than made up for it. Derpy wanted to clean dishes, but I would have none of it. She spent the last couple in company and making me feel wanted. That it was now my turn to do things for her. I was busy cleaning up when I turned to see her still at the table, her face deep in thought. You know what's sad? This is still a better romance story that inspires and magic. What's wrong? I asked. Are you feeling okay?
I'm fine. It's just...
She paused. It's just what? Her silence was palatable, like she was trying to form her thoughts.
Now that we kissed and slept together, and does that mean we're
She paused one more time before delivering the final word.
together?
Of course, I chuckled. We would have done all that if we weren't going to be together.
Does that mean we're dating too?
She asked enthusiastically, with a wide smile. Exactly, I replied, attempting to mimic the same amount of enthusiasm. As enthusiastic as I was, I could never match her. Suddenly she went silent again, looking very confused.
So,
She trailed off.
what do ponies do on dates?
Before I could say a word, I went silent as well. The confusion she had on her face made its way into mine. I have no idea. I'd never dated before, to be honest.
Well, I guess that means we'll find out together, right?
She smiled, undeterred by my admission. Right, I said, putting my hook down on the table. She found my determined rather amusing. Well, you see, first you find something you guys might like together. Then you just do something together. You walk around. You enjoy each other's company.
I saw it for easier. Question.
Yes, Trix.
When was the last time you had a date?
Mm,
I know that one time you took that pretty mage out under the prom during your time in Strixhaven does not count.
oh gee. There was this one time I was visiting Mobius. And there was this really nice cat girl who I went out with. She said she was having some problems with her current boyfriend, so I went out with her. We had a great time. We had some delicious cake. Then I had to deal with her boyfriend coming after me with his crossbow. Don't tell Penders this, but Jeffrey goes down like a bitch in one hit. We walked into town, spending most of the day watching other ponies. Ones that were in relationships, or what looked like relationships. You might call it voyeurism. We called it research. We found a couple of subjects in town to watch, but none more so than and more common hang out in place or dating ponies. The park. We saw others having picnics, cuddling, nuzzling their noses together like they were escaponies. Picnics in the park we could do, but that bit with noses looked rather strange to us. Giving it a try, Derpy and I nuzzled our noses together, doing our best to mimic our subjects.
It's very strange,
She said. Yeah, I'm not sure what the big deal is.
Actually, this kind of tickles.
She chuckles. I could feel a sneeze coming on any second, so I pulled away out of fear that Derpy would be blasted by my possible snot. I was right. I seized a powerful one into my arm.
God bless you.
She laughed. In the end, though, our most powerful, valuable finding was that this dating thing wasn't at all different to when Derpy was giving me a tour of the town, albeit with fewer stops and more romantic intentions. As we watched the couple, whilst hiding in the bushes, we came to a conclusion. I think I could get the hang of this, I confidently told her.
Me too. Doesn't look too bad.
What does it look too bad? A deep southern voice said behind us. Shocked, we stood to look at the source of the voice. Behind us was a big red stallion, with a half-apple to our key mark, staring at us with a mother of all stares. I had no idea what to do or say, but Derpy called him by his name.
Big Macintosh? What are you doing here?
His name was Big Macintosh? The stallion certainly lived up to his name. You don't get out much, do ya? He was tall, muscular, almost made me feel inferior to him.
I could ask you the same thing, you two snoopers. What are y'all doing? Spying on Coop opponents?
Well, you see, was all I could say before.
I'm sorry, Big Mac.
Derpy interjected.
You see, this here's my co-friend, and we're not really knowledgeable on the subject of dating, so we decided to spend the day walking around town to see what dating was actually like. Now we think we're ready, unless you have a dating advice for us, maybe.
She said it so fast, she didn't make any attempt to pause or add a comment to her massive run-on sentence. Big Mac was wide-eyed, like a massive bombshell just watched his world was dropped.
Hey, your girlfriend?
He quietly said. He was quiet for a few moments. I didn't know what he was thinking during that time. Suddenly he grabbed us both, embracing us at that time.
Congratulations!
He happily yelled. His grip was unbearably tight. I couldn't breathe. Big Mac! I guessed for air. He let us go.
I'm sorry. Don't know my own strength sometimes.
I wheezed. Quite all right. Big Macintosh chuckled, but then his face got serious.
Now listen here, mister. You better to your route now. You hear?
I quickly nodded. I had no intention of mistreating her, but I had to respond quickly, or risk getting on the stallion's bad side.
Now, here's what you do. You'll take her to a nice restaurant, preferably with candles and nice music. Get whatever she wants. Doesn't matter how much it is. You get it. You'll find plenty of Carolyn. Now you understand me.
I do so.
Good. Well, you're standing around for. Get moving.
Big Mac, I didn't know you were dating some pony. Who is it?
Derpy wondered. Big Mac became shifty-eyed before responding with a then galloping away. That was a strange encounter. Still, that was what I needed to do. I guess it was good advice as any. We had our first date that very night. I took her to a nice restaurant in Camelot, just as Big Mac told me to. It was called the Fleur de Lis, owned by some pony called Fancy Pants. Being a restaurant in Camelot, Derpy and I attended a less in casual wear. I put on my nicest tie, and while she wore a simple white dress, which looked very good on her. Upon entering, however, the place was still more than enough to make us feel a little out of place in. The ponies around us wore fantastic suits and dresses. We thought we accidentally stumbled into the Grand Galloping Gala. The pony that seated us wasn't too pleased with our attire. He led us to our table nonetheless. We could feel the eyes staring at us. I was about to stare at them back, but I fought myself not to. We were there to have a good time, best not to spoil it. I admit the table was nice, and there was actually candles on it. I wonder if this was the exact place Big Mac was talking about.
I think you're a little underdressed,
She whispered to me after we were seated.
That means we're even allowed in.
I know. Next thing you know, Princess Celestia's gonna walk in. I whispered back to her, responding with a quiet laugh.
I feel like every pony's staring at us.
She looked around to confirm her suspicions. Placed my hoof on hers, drawing her attention back to me. Let them stare, I said. Then they can see how beautiful you are. She lightly tapped my hoof away, laughing as she did.
Stop it, you,
she quietly said. The waiter showed up in a matter of moments, unaware of our little conversation. He was polite and non-judgmental, something we both hoped he would be. Treated us like any more of the debonair ponies in the restaurant. It was a nice contrast to the pony that seated us, and the crowd was still making occasional glances at us. In all fairness, despite the price, the food was delicious. I would say it was worth every bit. I was certain the bill would take out more than half the bits in my pouch. Halfway through our meal, a white stallion with a mustache and monocle in his eye stepped at our table.
Good evening,
he said, with all the grace a fancy pony like himself would say.
How are you two? I trust the food is to your liking.
It's fantastic, I replied.
Very good. I was passing through, and I couldn't help but notice that others were giving brief looks at you two. I say, are you ponies famous or something?
Both Derpy and I blushed. Unless that was the reason they were staring at us. Well, in our looks, that definitely wasn't the case. Maybe Derpy's wrong. As wonderful as that would be, he replied, I think it might be because we're from Ponyville. The name of the town brought a smile to the stallion's face. That wasn't the first time he saw Ponyville.
Ponyville, he said with glee. It's nice to see ponies from that town. Just last week, a red stallion came by with a lovely elf pony who was a teacher at the school there. What was her name?
Yes! Big Mac and Charlie ship! Woo! Woohoo! We apologize, but you know martial art for easier in that ship.
Suck it, Sugar Bell! I don't care how adorable you are! Charlie
Big Mac FTW! Woo! As he mumbled the possible names of the mysterious mare that accompanied Big Mac, Derpy quietly said,
I'm sorry, mister.
he was broken from his thoughts to look at Derpy. His kind and gentle expression showed that he was never once bothered by her. A welcome sight indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, I know what's canon, but canon never stops a fair hard shipper.
My darling, for what?
They were not fancy looking.
It's perfectly fine, dear. He chuckled. It's rather rehearsing, if I do say so myself. But it's nice that you're wearing something simple, rather than some of the monstrosities I've seen. You look positively radiant.
He turned to me.
Your coat, doesn't he look radiant?
I didn't need a second thought to answer that question. Every day, I said.
Ah, young love. It's rare to see nowadays. Then continue your meal, before I will say my welcome.
It was nice to meet you, Mr. I paused, waiting for the name.
It's Fancy Pants, and likewise, Uncle,
he said as he walked away. Derpy and I looked at each other, wide eyes in surprise and shock. That was the Fancy Pants talking to us. The moment of elation didn't last. Once the bill came in, as great as the food was, the price almost made me have a heart attack. Still had enough to pay for it. Derpy offered to chip in, but like the dishes at our house, I wouldn't let her. You paid for my first muffin? I said. It's my turn.
The muffin didn't cost $50.
I replied. She replied back. True. I hate to say how much dessert would cost. See, we didn't want to find out. After paying the bill, along with a nice tip for the waiter, we headed out the door, back to Ponyville, where the food was cheaper, especially dessert. Well, the dessert happens to be Derpy. Ow!
You do that again, you get another whipping.
You're probably thinking we may have stopped at Sugar Cube Corner, but we didn't get back to Ponyville around 10 o'clock, and they closed at 9. Instead, we stopped at a stand of delicious-looking apple treats, commandeered by a particularly energetic cow pony.
Hi,
she said with a mad guarantee, despite the late night. Little boy. So he had the same southern drawl as Big Mac to us, and an apple-related cue mark. Could it be related?
You really don't get out much.
I wanted to ask, but decided not to, for one reason or another.
Hi, Applejack, said Derpy. What do you have?
Applejack was more than happy to run down the list of goodies in the stand. Glad you asked, Derpy. We got apple fritters, apple pie, apple tarts, apple dumplings, apple crisps, apple tumblers, apple cupcakes, apple muffins, or if you'd like, just plain apples. Ah, my lady Applejack. We were both sure that we missed half of things he said. That was all I can remember. We ended up getting an apple pie. As Applejack packed it up, she glanced at me, then back at Derpy. You know what I'll ask? Who's your new friend?
Derpy giggles. He's not my friend. He's my co-friend.
Co-friend. It was the second time she called me that. But now, it was just the word heard all around Ponyville. It's amazing seeing every pony stopped around us. Even Applejack was almost done packing up the pie. Kill good? She asked, after what was a second of silence.
It's my co-friend,
Derpy said happily, as he tossed a few bits on the stand, taking the box pie by its straps.
Thank you,
she said muffled, so we headed off. I was going to pay for that.
Nonsense! I caught it!
That was the other ponies looking at us. The cat was officially out of the bag.
Did I say something?